Welcome to Easy Elim Learning Simplified. My name is Ruth, and today our topic will be carbon and its compounds. We're going to be looking at the extraction of Trona. So, we are going to look at the details of how we can get Trona from the lake, and also you look at some of the effects of carbon dioxide into the environment and also the carbon cycle. So when it comes to the large scale production of sodium carbonate and sodium hydrogen carbonate, we know that sodium carbonate is used, it has so many uses in the industries, and some of the demand is in the paper industry and glass industry. And so it's a very important process, and it is usually gotten in two ways. One is the extraction of trona, and the other one is by solvay process. So in the previous video we talked about the solvay process. You can check that out. So today we are going to talk about trona. So trona, we mentioned it when we were talking about salts, and we said is one of the double salt we have. This is a mixture of sodium carbonate, sodium hydrogen carbonate, and actually two molecules of water. This is the water of crystallization. So when you look at this process, first of all, we need to note that the water that is extracted in Lake Magadi, this is a lake that does not have any outlets, but it does have inlets. So what happens is during the day, water in the lake is usually pumped into shallow basins for evaporation to take place under the sun. And then after evaporation has taken place, water is transferred into another basin where fractional crystallization takes place. So during the day when the temperatures are at 40 degrees Celsius, Trona usually crystallize out because it usually has a lower solubility and in high temperatures. But at night when the temperatures are lower at 21 degrees Celsius, sodium chloride is the one that crystallizes out. So Trona is usually dug by buckets and dredges. So you can see we are removing Trona. You can use either flow charts. They are still the same. It's usually dug by buckets and dredges and washed with water. When it's washed with water, the purpose is to remove mud, any mud. It can be small rocks. They're usually removed by washing. And then it's taken to the centrifuge where water is removed. So when you look at in the centrifuge, we are not trying to heat the whole Trona completely. We're just trying to remove the water. So if you look at the equation, the first equation is for the removal of water. You can see we just remove the water of crystallization. And then after that, it's taken to the kiln where it's usually heated at a very high temperature of 300 degrees Celsius. At these temperatures, then the trona is finally decomposed to give sodium carbonate, carbon dioxide, and water. And then after that, now after it has been decomposed fully, it's taken to the grinder. Remember, it's taken to the heat exchanger to lower the temperatures because the temperatures are very high. And then it's taken to the grinder where it's sieved and broken down in small pieces and then bagged for sale. So that is the simple process of the extraction of sodium carbonate through by Trona. Next, we are going to look at some of the effects of this carbon dioxide to the environment. So the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is usually like becoming higher and higher at the moment because of the burning of fossil fuels. And the most common fossil fuel is petrol because of the many cars that are being used currently. And then this is causing an increase in global warming due to the greenhouse effect. So the greenhouse effect causes like the melting of the polar caps, which leads to the rise of the sea levels and also some changes in the weather pattern. And then also vehicles usually emit some gases, which is one of them is carbon dioxide. in the exhaust fumes. And we know carbon dioxide is one of the toxic gases. We said it combines with the blood to form carboxyhemoglobin, which prevents oxygen from combining with the cell, red blood cells, to form oxyhemoglobin, which causes suffocation. So you know that this suffocation can cause a lot of issues. Many people die because of carbon dioxide suffocation, especially in the vehicles and the exhaust fumes. But carbon dioxide can be removed from the environment by microorganisms in the soil. So when we look at the carbon cycle, first of all, we know like some carbon is usually produced, carbon dioxide is produced by animals. So for example, the animals, they give off carbon dioxide, and when they die and decay, they also produce carbon dioxide and carbon, which is taken back into the soil, and also some of it go into the atmosphere. Green plants also give out carbon dioxide during respiration, but they also take in some during photosynthesis. But also when they die, they decay and produce carbon, which is dissolved in the waters, and also it's emitted into the atmosphere. So some of these green plants, when they decompose, they can form the fuel, which when burnt, as we said, the fossil fuel gives out carbon dioxide there. So you can see the amount of carbon dioxide that is going to the atmosphere is higher than the amount that is going to be used up in the environment. And this can cause a greater effect into the environment. So this brings us to the end. So let's look at a few questions. In Kenya, sodium carbonate is extracted from Trona at Lake Magadi. Give the formula of Trona. So we said the Trona is a combination of sodium carbonate and sodium hydrogen carbonate and 2 molecules of water. It is a double salt. Name the process of extracting sodium carbonate from Trona. So if you were to describe the process, you'd say that Trona is washed. We said is washed to remove mud and small rocks. Small rocks. Then it's taken to the centrifuge where it's heated to remove the water of crystallization. And then it's taken to the kiln where it's heated to a temperature of 300 degrees Celsius and gets decomposed to form sodium carbonate. It's then ground and packed for sale. So that is the process of extracting sodium carbonate from Trona. I hope you have been able to understand. So that brings us to the end of carbon and its compounds. You can check out the other videos for other subtopics.